Hey, what's up everyone? Jamie here from CLA Community Learning Alternatives with a Motivation Monday video for you. Productivity, self-development, and positivity are just some of the topics we cover. Mondays don't suck. They're an opportunity to start fresh and get things done. Let's start with a useful new video from Mariana's Study Corner, where she's been inspired by Michael Hyatt's book, Free to Focus, and explains how our concept of productivity might be flawed.
There's this book called Free to Focus by Michael Hyatt. It starts by giving you food for thought. We only have 168 hours per week, but it never feels enough. When you dive into max productivity mode, it seems like your days can't be more stretched than they are, and you still feel like there is so much to do and that your work, either being school or career related, is just, average. One of the key concepts to learn from this book is that your concept of productivity is flawed. We usually believe that productivity is based on two factors, quantity and speed. The more work you do and the faster you do it, the more productive you are. This mindset will result in an overflowing schedule, unrealistic task lists, and an endless loop of more work to do, because you're simply anticipating and generating more work than you should. Besides the obvious consequence of burnout, you're actually decreasing the quality of the work you're doing. Instead of completing fewer high-quality projects, you're completing more average-quality projects. The more average-quality projects you complete, the more you'll need to prove to others, either in the workplace or college. And the more you need to prove, the more you'll work. And the more you'll work, the more average your work will be. As you can see, this mindset is a loop, and once you get there, it will be hard to get out of it. Time is fixed, but your energy and focus levels are not. This means that despite an increase in your working hours, your output will not increase proportionately. This happens because your brain is not able to keep the same level of focus at the end of the day, and will require more energy to tackle a task you would easily complete during the morning. That is, if you're a morning person, of course. If you are more prone to reaching a productivity peak in the evening, that scheme will probably be inverted in your case. It's equally important to rejuvenate and recharge, allowing your brain to go back to a maximum level of focus instead of trying to work through your projects with a mind clogged with information and worries. Despite sounding counterproductive, playing and relaxing are key in going back to a focused mode. In fact, freedom to do nothing is a central part of how productive you are. Being able to do nothing productive for your career or academic goals during your time off creates breakthrough ideas, allows you to reorganize priorities in your mind, and create the needed time and space to relax and restart the process. This is so important that you should schedule this time for yourself, even when your calendar is overflowing with other tasks that seem to be more important. And the most important self-care appointment that you should schedule religiously is a fixed time to go to bed and waking up, creating a sleeping routine that allows you to rejuvenate your brain regularly. In his book Dreamland, David Randall states that sleep deprivation makes it harder to solve problems, stay focused, and make good decisions. Likewise, the neuroscientist Penelope Lewis argues in The Secret World of Sleep that sleep-deprived people have far fewer original ideas. The third main idea behind the book is that being productive means identifying unnecessary tasks. To save time, you need to eliminate any non-essential tasks in your workday. This is how you try to overcome that wrong mindset about productivity, that more done in less time equals being productive. The idea here is not to do more things, but the right things. This is exactly what is discussed in Essentialism as well as Deep Work. Identifying key tasks to focus on and trimming away everything else is what will make your work more valuable and increase the overall quality of your projects. You can identify what is a valuable task by assessing your passion and proficiency. Proficiency is what will be expected in more regular workplaces, whether you're skilled at the task at hand and whether that task significantly contributes to your work. Passion goes beyond that. It allows you to measure a task taking into account the level of motivation that you bring to the process. The trick is to know what to do with tasks that you're passionate about but not proficient in. That is, you're not skilled enough or that task is not fundamental to your work. Most of these tasks will probably need to be turned down in a workplace environment, especially if getting involved in them is not adding value to the work of your team or company. That doesn't mean, however, that you aren't allowed to invest time in that work during your off time. The idea is to evaluate whether that passion can turn into something valuable that, with the required skills, you'll be able to transfer to the workplace, or keep it as a personal skill to be developed in the background.
Next up, creating a to-do list is one of the best ways to manage a schedule throughout your day. A to-do list helps manage what needs to be done and what your day looks like. Francesco from the Keep Productive YouTube channel shares 3 methods of using a to-do list application and includes some work examples as well.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Keep Productive YouTube channel. Today's video I'm going to talk to you all about why to-do list applications are fundamental right now and show you a few ways that you could be using them today. So without further ado, let's roll into today's video. So folks, one of the biggest recommendations during this period of time is to maintain a schedule. And it is really important at home, obviously, to do that, is to keep the routine going as if you're going to work or going to do your routine. So I think it's important as well to have some form of to-do list application. Now, some people don't have to-do list applications, and of course, this could be a great opportunity and time period to introduce one in your daily routine. Now, you're probably wondering a few ways that I could use it, Francesco. How can I start using a to-do list application if I've never used one? So one of the first ways is to do what I do with a to-do list application. I currently do this with an application called Todoist. I think Todoist is a great all-rounder to-do list application, but I've recently started to schedule out my time as in accordance to time slots. So for example, I normally plan the night before my day ahead, so I can see, for example, when I open my laptop in the morning, what have I got today to do at 10 a.m, 11 a.m, 2 p.m, after lunch, and weaving in both personal and work. I use a personal and work project to keep things nice and simple, but this idea of having a schedule can be produced in a to-do list application like this. And this really helps me at the moment to keep on track. I actually shifted this just from a basic priority to an actual time-based one over the last 2 weeks because I felt that I needed to be a bit more stricter with my schedule and routine. The second way you could use a routine or schedule is not necessarily in a more of a schedule fashion, is with an application like Microsoft To Do. And Microsoft To Do is a free to-do list application, but if you're more inclined to share lists with people, for example, stuff you need to get done around the house, projects that you need to start working on, and you're sharing them with someone you live with or someone that you work with, and you want a very simple one, then Microsoft To Do has great sharing list abilities. You can share a link with someone after you've shared the list, and you can start collaborating together on those lists. So if you're more inclined to getting things done while sharing lists, obviously Todoist and Microsoft To Do have this. I don't recommend using two, I just recommend going for one sole application. Now, the third recommendation is obviously not many people are necessarily inclined to using a to-do list application. And of course, you don't have to, this is just a recommendation. I always find it a bit more sort of formal than necessarily using a task manager. Recently, I actually have been using my remarkable tablet. You could potentially use an iPad or naturally a piece of paper or a notebook that you have to just start writing out your schedule for the day. Now, this is actually a nice way to do this. The reason why is because I know that I have New York Times app on my phone. News alerts are coming through, and that can be pretty stressful. Even texts from friends, especially with you being home and more online, it can take you away from that environment. Maybe you want to go and sit in the garden or sit by a window in your flat and write out your list. It's a good way to actually just separate yourself from a digital pattern. But of course, all these three are great ways to get started. Now, you can replicate this similar process inside of applications like Notion, Taskade, project managers that may have in the form of just simple lists or even tasks or projects. Trello, I know, is an incredibly popular one at this time. But one of my biggest recommendations is to create some form of checklists, whether that's a list of, for example, your shopping list, or things that you want to help prepare for a certain event, then checklists can help you to formulate that. We've done some recent reviews on checklists like columns. We found to be a particularly fantastic application for that. Fairly new, but again, it helps you to start formulating those checklists. Todoist also has a new section area, so you can create these checklists within projects without necessarily associating dates to them. I've been doing this recently. So as you can imagine, to-do list applications can be hard to find. We've just made our Art of Choosing the Best To-Do List Application course free. So if you're someone that is struggling to find your to-do list application, that is totally natural. We've created a course that will help you to find that and go through that. Now you can naturally get it for free in the description below. And our main reason behind that is so that you can find it during this period of time that you have off. Now it's actually 3 sections. So it's going to take you through a bit more of a rigorous process in terms of pushing you towards choosing an application and then putting you through quite a lengthy trial period to help really test you with that application. But this will hopefully help you to determine which one's best for you, if maybe during this video you're umming and ahhing. But my biggest recommendation, guys, is to get one going and to really take advantage of it during this period of time. It's important with all the stuff that's flowing around our head, the news, things we need to do, the ones we love, health and fitness, it can be pretty stressful. And also when you're watching videos and content, you can actually be bombarded with stuff. Maybe you were bombarded at the start of this video. So it's just important to use a to-do list application to help formulate it, to help channel down what you need to do in your day.
And finally, Beth Skwaracki, the senior health editor at lifehacker.com, shows us how to use dumbbells or whatever you have around that's heavy for a complete at-home workout. Water bottles or soup cans are better than nothing, but if you have a pair of real weights, you're golden. Here are 5 moves that will work with whatever weights you have on hand at home. That's all for now from CLA Community Learning Alternatives. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great videos.